Hey, I'm Tony. Welcome back. Hey, the previous videos we showed you how to clean redfish on a half shell. This video we're going to show you how to take all the bones out so that you have nothing but just meat. Watch closely as we do this. Again, we pull the fin up on the side and notice closely that I turn my knife so that it's heading up the scales. And if you head up the scales, it'll go right in between them and it's not any trouble. So you cut down through there till you get to the backbone, and then you turn your knife towards the tail and you start working it back and forth until you get down to the backbone, and you take that whole fillet off. Now that whole fillet is loose now. See that? It's all meat except for the bones around the rib cage and some pin bones. But I'm going to show you how to get around those in a moment. Now here I've turned the fish over. I'm going to do the same thing here. I turn it up towards the nose or the head of the fish. I take the meat off the side by cutting through the rib bones, which is not a problem. This knife is really sharp and it does an excellent job in taking the meat off, or the fillet off the side of the fish. Now here's our second fillet. Everything is done. Now, as I showed you before, we always save the throats because there's so much meat in them. So we cut down through there and save the throat on that side. We cut down through here and save the throat on this side. And then we basically have the whole throat. Now, what I want to show you is how we take the bones completely out of the fish. It's really simple. It's not complicated at all. Let me get rid of this. Okay, first off, I have a knife that has no serration in it at all. It's just a straight bubble blade. I cut down through the fillet, down to the skin, down to the scales that are on the fish, and then I just work it back and forth, and this knife will do the work. Don't force it. Let the knife do the work. It will go right down to the skin. It knows exactly what to do. That's the struggle with people, is they don't let the tool do the work. Now look, see, I have a fillet that has no skin on it at all. Here's the skin, but there's no meat on it. So now consider this. I'm going to wipe this off a little bit so you can see. I've got a garden hose here to clean it off, but you can see these are rib bones right here. So what I want to do is go into the rib bones and cut down to what is called a pin bone that leaves the ribs and it turns in. So what I'm going to do is first put my knife in and go back towards the top of the fish, okay, so that I miss all those. Now, once you get about 3/4 of the way down on the ribs, there's no more pin bones. You can just go right off the end like that. And you end up with a piece of meat that has no bones in it. And that's what you're after. Now, it does leave this piece of meat. You say, well, that's a lot of meat, Tony. Yes, it is. So what you do with these is, I have a good friend that takes all these from me. He makes coubillon and stuff out of them, and he doesn't mind eating around the bones, but you end up with a fillet that has no bones in it. It's just meat. And then typically we just cut ours into pieces like this after we're done, and we fry these pieces, and you get all these pieces of meat with no bones in them. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.